So the Modern Warfare 2 beta has officially ended, and now it is time to give you my full review of the entire beta. Everything I thought was great about it, and everything I thought was not great about it. So we did one of these like directly after the first 2 days of the first weekend of the beta, but obviously my thoughts have changed a little bit. I've added some stuff to the list. I've changed around the way I word it and the way I feel about it because I have gotten a lot more playtime with the beta, of course, since we got weekend 2. And I have a lot to say in this video, so we're going to go through everything, and let me know your guys' thoughts on these different things in the comment section below. Of course, these are just my opinions. Stuff that I want to be changed is obviously not stuff that you will also want to be changed as well, but let's just get to it. Feedback is really important. I know it's a beta. That is why feedback is important. Some of this stuff I'm sure will get fixed for the full game, but we're talking about it anyways. Starting off with everything I loved about this beta, there are actually a couple of things. I know I've been really negative about it on my past couple videos, but that's just because I want this game to be the best it possibly can be. First of all, the colors are very, very vibrant, and I'm very happy to say that because, unfortunately, some past Infinity Ward games, especially Modern Warfare 2019, was not so colorful. Like, the game was so brown and gray, and the colors did not pop. Thankfully, in this game, the colors do pop. We have very colorful maps, and everything is visually stunning. The graphics, animations are all incredible. The guns feel really good, like they feel really, really good to use. The sounds are crisp. It's definitely one of the best looking Call of Duties to date. And I absolutely love the guns in this game. There's a lot of cool guns. I'm not crazy about like COD being all realistic and stuff like I know a lot of people are. I don't really mind if the guns aren't realistic, but it is cool to see the attention to detail that they put into the different weapons and how the animations work. And I'm very, very glad we actually have weapon inspecting even in the beta, so that's really cool because some of the other recent CODs, they take a while to actually add stuff like that in, but thankfully we have it right away, and I love weapon inspecting. I think it's a cool little feature, and it's really cool to see it, and the different animations you have with it are very, very crisp, very, very nice, and these sounds are pretty good in this game. Obviously, besides footstep audio, that's a whole separate thing, but in terms of just these sounds and how they sound, everything sounds very good. You can tell where a gunshot comes from pretty easily. It just sounds real almost, which again, I don't really care too much about it being too realistic, but in general, it does add for an immersive experience if that's what you're looking for. Another thing, the maps. The maps are actually really good within this game. Now, I don't think all of them are great. I do think Museum is definitely the weakest of all of them because it's just way too big for 6v6, but Farm 18 and Hotel I think are pretty great, and Mercado is an incredible map, at least in my opinion. So I'm very happy with the map design here. I wasn't expecting to have great maps because of Modern Warfare 2019 and not having the best maps in the world, but thankfully Infinity Ward kind of learned to design the maps in a way that fits better for the arcade shooter element of Call of Duty, and I think these maps actually work really well. I don't really have any big issues with them. I don't think they're slowing down the pace of the game, and I don't think they're necessarily making the game campier. They're actually pretty good. I think these maps work fine. Like I said, Museum is a bit too big for 6v6, but maps themselves, very happy with them. Another positive is Ground War. So I don't really like the other Ground War mode. They added Invasion. I thought that mode was kind of meh, and I'm not going to talk about that. The negatives are like, it's not like a big negative. It's just an extra mode. You don't have to play anyways, but I really wasn't a fan of it. I played it. There was like bots in there. I just thought it was kind of dumb. But 32v32 Ground War, like regular Ground War on those maps, is a lot of fun. I am really a big fan of it. Of course, we had it in Modern Warfare 2019, and I thought it was solid there, and it's pretty solid here. I would say it's even better here. They made a lot more improvements. Like, you can actually be inside of one of those like choppers and you can like just walk around in it. Like, it's really cool how you can just walk around in the helicopters, and I absolutely think it's such a cool feature, and you could just like jump out of it, and it's really just a lot of fun moments you can have within this mode, especially with friends. Like, if you just mess around with vehicles and tanks, and you can like infiltrate an enemy base, because you know, obviously you have the different places you can secure the different objectives, and if you know an enemy has it, you know there's probably going to be enemies in there, so it's really cool like going on like a stealth mission to try to like infiltrate the enemy base. It's just, it has that feel that Battlefield has. Of course, this is trying to mimic the Battlefield Conquest mode, and I think it does it pretty well. I really do enjoy this mode, and I think it is pretty fun, and a lot of the tactical mechanics of Modern Warfare 2 that I don't like actually kind of work decently well in Ground War, so I do think Ground War is really fun. I haven't really got a chance to play the non-respawn modes too much in this game, but I do think they would probably play pretty well with the tactical elements as well. I'm sure the people who have been playing Search and Destroy in this game are probably having a good time, because like I said, those elements do work well there. And the last positive I want to talk about is score streaks. I'm just glad they're here. I don't think they're perfect, and we're going to talk about that in the negative a little bit, but I'm just glad we have the ability to use them because I've been using them every single game because I play the objective. I'm an objective guy. I love playing hardpoint domination. I love hopping on the objective as much as I can, and I want to be rewarded for that. And I do think it's good to have a system where you can be rewarded for that. Would I prefer it was very, very different? Like, would I prefer it was the default, so everyone had to do it, so everyone would be encouraged to play the objective? Yeah, but this is better than nothing, and I'm just happy it's there in the first place. I actually want to do a little subsection here called mixed, which are just things I'm mixed on. And there's only one thing I want to talk about here because I don't really have a big opinion on this either way, and I actually talked about this a little bit in my other video, and that is the perk system in this game. I actually see the benefits of this perk system, and I think there's a way to make it work so it will make the gameplay better, but there's also things about it I don't like, so that's why it's kind of in the mix, because I like it, but I don't like it at the same time. The things I like about it are that it does encourage rushing. Like, a lot of things in this game do not encourage rushing, but this actually kind of does, because I do feel like at the start of my match, I want to get kills as fast as possible so I can get my perks as fast as possible. So that element of it I kind of like. I'm like encouraged to hop on the objective and get as many kills as I can as soon as possible so I can get Ghost, so I can get Focus, my other perks that I run. But the thing I don't like about it is, well, now I can't have those perks from the beginning. And I do think that's a bit of an issue because these are staple perks that have been in COD for like ever. You know, Ghost is a pretty staple perk. Now I know they don't want Ghost to be too powerful, but that's why Treyarch has made it so Ghost isn't too powerful by making it so you only get it when you're moving. So if you're not moving, Ghost is not going to work. That's how they balance Ghost as a perk in Treyarch's games. Why not do the same here? Instead, their way of balancing it was to throw it in that ultimate perk category along with a lot of other really powerful perks. So I think they could do a system like this, and I don't mind it, but the perks that are in the ultimate perk tier should be like really damn good perks that are very specific to this game and like aren't things we normally have by default. I think if you're gonna have a system like this, it should be very, very different than how it's set up here. It almost feels like Specialists in a way, although the difference between Specialists and this is that this you get to keep it for the rest of the game, whereas Specialists you just use it really quickly and you don't get to use it after that. I think there's definitely a lot of ideas they can come up with perks that you get later on in the game. Maybe only have one perk that you get later on, don't have it be two. Maybe the second perk tier we can have at the start as well. I don't know. There's a lot of things they could definitely change about the system. I don't think making the time to earn it shorter is going to fix the problem. Like, that's what they did for the very end of the beta here. And that doesn't really do much. It just makes it so you get it quicker. So it makes you think to yourself, what's even the point of the system in the first place? Like, what's the big deal with us having these good perks at the beginning as opposed to 2 minutes into the match? I don't really see the big deal there. But I do understand that it could encourage rushing, and that little part of it makes me kind of like the system a little bit, but at the same time, I don't really see the point of it. They could definitely find other ways to encourage rushing, and we don't really need this, but it's an interesting idea. I'm glad they're trying to innovate somewhere. It's just, I'm not sure if it's needed. Now let's get into the bad, and let me tell you, I have a lot of things listed here, so we're going to be here a while. First of all, the score streak system. So I was just talking about how much I'm so happy to have score streaks in the game, but I don't think it's perfect. So first of all, obviously the fact that it's not default, it does mean a lot of people aren't going to use them. A lot of people probably don't even know it exists. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of casuals that don't even know you can get score streaks in this game, and they're just never going to use them. And therefore, less people are encouraged to play the objective. So that doesn't really fix the issue of people not being able to be encouraged to play the objective if they don't even know it exists, or they're just not going to use it, because a lot of people feel more comfortable using kill streaks probably. I personally use score streaks all the time. I don't really have any reason to use kill streaks. I love being rewarded for the objective, like I said before. But a lot of people aren't going to use them, so it's not really getting the full benefit that score streaks usually get. And a lot of other problems with it, the streaks don't wrap. I don't get why they don't wrap. I think it's really stupid. What I mean by that, or I guess another word for it's recycle. What I mean by that is you can earn them again in one life. So if you earn all your streaks, you can keep going. That's what I want, but this game doesn't have that. And they actually haven't had it in a couple other CODs, like Modern Warfare 2019 didn't have it as well. But any COD with score streaks would always let you earn your streaks again in the same life. Always. I mean, that's what was so great about a lot of those systems. And I don't get why kill streaks can't do that also. Like, I get why they wouldn't want, you know, these score streaks and kill streaks to be like imbalanced by score streaks allowing you to re-earn them again in the same life, but then you can't do the same thing with kill streaks. Why not let you do the same thing with kill streaks? There's no reason we can't keep earning our streaks to get on the same life. It discourages me from wanting to keep staying alive after getting my streaks. I know there's a nuke in the game, so that's like the only little bit of encouragement to keep going, but I would love if I can just run a UAV and just keep wrapping the UAV. I would love if I can do UAV, counter UAV, and keep wrapping them, like a lot of people used to do that. Or I would love if I can just earn another chopper gunner. If I'm really that good and I'm staying alive that long enough to earn another chopper gunner, let me get it. I was playing Cold War the other day, and it was so rewarding to just be able to earn more than one streak in one life. You go back to Black Ops 4, you could do the same thing. Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 2, whatever it may be, you can earn streaks in the same life again and again. Let me do that. Why not? And another thing, you can't use streaks of the same value. Why? Who cares if we earn 2 streaks at the same time? This was never a problem with score streaks because they would always make score streak values different, obviously. But with kill streaks, it's kind of hard to do that because there's not enough slots for that. So I really wouldn't see the problem if you can just let us use 2 streaks of the same value so I can earn them, so I can run them. I would love to run advanced UAV and gunship at the same time, but I can't because they're the same value. That is stupid. Let me run them. Who cares if you earn them at the same time? Why does that? It's not going to break the game. Like, there's nothing about the game that's going to break because you earn 2 streaks at once. Like, that shouldn't be an issue. So that's the thing there. And one last thing about the streaks, there are a couple of things that you used to get score value for score streaks, but you don't in this game anymore. Like getting kills with score streaks, you don't get any value for that. Again, I know they're trying to balance streaks and kill streaks and score streaks, but they're trying too much to the point where it's making score streaks not as enjoyable as they used to be. Although again, I'm still happy they're there in the first place. Next up, time to kill. It's too fast. As simple as that. Now I know a lot of people don't care. A lot of people think it's just fine. I prefer time to kill being on the slower side. It doesn't have to be crazy slow. I'm just talking like, you know, how it is in Cold War, maybe something like that. As long as it's lower than like 250 milliseconds, I'm probably going to be happy. I'm not asking for like Halo time to kill where it's like 1,000 milliseconds. I'm talking just like, you know, somewhere in the 250 to 300 millisecond mark. That's what I prefer. I doubt they're going to make it that much slower, so I do hope they do some sort of a combat pacing system where they have filtered options for you to do different game modes with slower time to kill, because I would love to play this game with a slower time to kill. Vanguard recently added a slow time to kill mode, and it is so much fun because skill actually matters in that mode. When you have a fast time to kill, skill does not matter as much, and the game is also a little bit slower paced. Vanguard's new mode, oh my god, it's so much faster paced. I love it. It's just everyone's rushing and having a good time. Gunfights actually exists. It's great. I would love for Modern Warfare 2 to do the same thing, because I really do not think I'm going to play a whole year, actually 2 years of a Call of Duty game if it has a fast time to kill. The time to kill in this game is pretty fast. It's not the fastest we've ever seen, definitely not. It's not even close to the fastest, but with the really, really fast hit detection in this game, really good hit detection, I mean, and with the fast time to kill, with guns that probably will have damage increasing attachments, you're gonna have a time to kill that's gonna end up feeling really damn fast. And right now in the beta, it feels lightning fast. And on top of this, what also is kind of making it so it's harder to rush in this game, the sprint out times and the ADS speeds and the sprint to fire times are all just not too good right now. The sprint out times need to be faster, the ADS speeds need to be faster, sprint out to fire times need to be faster as well. All these speeds are just a little too slow. I want the game to be more guns up. I want you to be encouraged to rush, and if you're punished for rushing too much, people just aren't going to do it. And to add on top of this rushing conversation, mounting. Mounting, I know it's in the game, I know they're never going to remove it, so at least nerf it. Make it so you're not going to get literally perfect accuracy when you mount, because way too many people get the idea to mount in every single possible place they can, myself included, because I know how useful it is. But it's just a little bit too much. It's overpowered to just, you know, sit in the back of the map, mount on something, and you have pinpoint accuracy with any gun. Just make it so your accuracy isn't like that great. Obviously your accuracy should be a little bit better, but not like literally perfect, you know what I mean? So I would hope they would change that, but I don't think they ever will, to be honest. And some more things in the game that punish rushing players and actually make it easier to camp in the game. No classic minimap and no dead silence as a perk. These two things we talked about that a bunch on a previous video, but yes, they are making it so it's harder to rush in this game and it's more encouraged to camp. A lot of these things I've been talking about, you know, kind of fit in that category. The game is a little bit slower paced because you're just rewarded for being slower. You're not gonna get nearly as much of an advantage when you're rushing, and I just don't think that's how the game should be. I think all the play styles should be somewhat equal, And I do want rushing to be at least encouraged to some degree because, like I said, I don't think this game should be so slow-paced. I don't think COD works well when it's slow-paced. I don't think most people would prefer it slow-paced. Some people don't care, but I personally don't think that. Another thing is the squad spawn system. This was something they introduced in Modern Warfare 2019, and it is back in this game. I don't think squad spawning is a good system at all. I think the regular spawning system that they had in previous games was much better. You lead to a lot less problems with getting people spawning in really weird places, and you also don't spawn in really weird places as well. So I think the squad spawn system in this game needs some fixing. They could definitely just go back to the old system. It would be a lot better, but if they really want to go with this new system, which I think they really just do this system to kind of handhold players, so you spawn near a teammate, so you're at least like safe, I guess, at first. I don't really know their idea with that, but I do think they need to do something where the spawns are not as wonky as they feel like they were in the beta. It's currently kind of hard to tell who's an enemy or not, and I know there's a lot of talk about the enemy nameplate thing and what they're going to do with that for launch, but the issue I'm having is that, especially in ground war more than anything, but I even have this in 6v6 sometimes, if you see your teammate's nameplate through like a wall, for example, and there's an enemy right in front of that nameplate, it looks like your teammate's nameplate is above the enemy, so a lot of times I'm like mistaking an enemy for a teammate, so I don't bother shooting at them. I just, oh, it's like an enemy next to me, I'm not going to worry about them, and then they end up killing me. I think it's something I have to fix. I have to figure out how to make it so you're not going to have that issue. A lot of CODs have had this issue, but hopefully they can fix it because it is kind of frustrating to die by an enemy that you thought was your teammate. Gunsmith, I have talked about this a bunch. I like Gunsmith. I think it's a cool system, but they really have to make it so it's worth having all these attachments. I feel like in this game, a lot of the attachments do not seem very useful. Some of the attachments are literally the exact same, at least in terms of what the values tell you. It's the exact same thing. I'm not even kidding. A couple attachments in this game are identical. And I don't know if, I'm sure it does statistically different things, but why can't it tell us those statistically different things? It just says literally the same thing as another thing. I also miss Pick 10. I would like for Pick 10 to return. I know it won't, but I would like for them to do a hybrid with Pick 10 and the Gunsmith, maybe call it like Pick 15 or something, so we can get more perks, more attachments, less attachments. I can remove my secondary and equipment because I don't like using equipment. I don't like using secondaries. Let me get more perks. Let me get more attachments if I can get rid of those equipment. I would love if people had that choice as well, because then we would see less equipment spam in the game if less people were using equipment. It's a pretty self-explanatory thing. If you want to stop equipment spam, literally just give us a system where we can choose not to use equipment and get more other stuff in return. The respawn delay is really annoying. They removed it from TDM, but it's still in domination and hardpoint, and I hate it. It's really frustrating. I do not want to see respawn delay ever again in a Call of Duty game. It works in certain modes, like I know it's in like, you know, capture the flag and stuff, but don't put it in your normal domination hardpoint modes. Any of those, they don't need it. Just remove it, please. No deaths on the scoreboard. I despise this. The same thing goes for a couple recent Call of Duties, except for Cold War, but for some reason Modern Warfare 2018 and Vanguard did the same thing. Not every mode, some modes show you your deaths, but a lot of modes don't show you your deaths. Show me that information. The more information on the scoreboard, the better. And I mean during the game and after the game, not just after the game. I want to see everything during the game as well. I want to see my kills and deaths in every mode throughout the entire match. It's integral information. If you want people to have the option to remove it so they don't want to, let's see if some people don't want to see their deaths, give us the option to remove it. But it should be an option for people who want to see it, because I want to see it. I want this information. I hate not being able to see it, and I think it's a really frustrating change that they made with Modern Warfare 2019. I don't really know what the reason was. I just don't like it. It's a bad thing. Joining in the middle of matches. You do this very often in the beta. I'm sure it's going to be fixed for the full game, but wow, the amount of times it put me in the middle of a match was insane. And sometimes it would be like consecutively. Like usually in Call of Duty, you might do it the first time you hop on, but then after that, you'll only get put in the beginning of the game. But I would play for like 5 sessions in a row and it would keep putting me in the middle of a match. I don't really know the point of that. I don't know why that was doing that, but whatever. The Gunsmith and menu UI is pretty bad. I know they said they're going to be working on changing this, thankfully, but it is one of the worst UIs I've seen in Call of Duty in a long time. Like, it is just so hard to get around. I played a lot of the beta and I still cannot figure it out. Combat pacing was the thing I actually really liked from Vanguard, and I was hoping to see it return, but they didn't show it in the beta. I'm assuming it's not going to be in the full game. I would really like it though, because like I said, some maps like Museum are just too big for 6v6, so I think it would work a lot better with higher player counts. I would like the option to play with higher player counts like 10v10, 8v8. That'd be kind of fun. Even on some of the smaller maps, I think it'd be really fun. I just prefer having more people in the match. obviously it's going to make it a little bit faster paced. Even if most mechanics in the game are making it so it's harder for people to rush, therefore slowing down the pace of the game, if you add more people, obviously it's at least going to help a little bit in making the mode a little bit faster paced. And the last thing I want to say for this beta review, and I did say this in my first beta review, for some reason they reuse a lot of Modern Warfare 2019's music within the multiplayer. It's a very big nitpick. I do hope that they add some new music in for the soundtrack because they have a little bit, but honestly the music so far I'm not crazy about. A lot of it's not really memorable. Like the main menu theme for this game, at least the one that's currently there, I'm sure they'll change it for launch hopefully, but it's not very memorable. Like out of every single multiplayer menu music you've ever heard, which ones stick out to you? Pretty much all of them stick out to me, but this one, not at all. I remember Cold War's main menu theme, I was like humming it in my head the next like 10 days after the beta. But this one, I couldn't even tell you what it was. I could not hum it to you right now because I do not remember it. Vanguard's was really great as well. Modern Warfare 2019's was really great. They had a lot of great menu music. But this game, for some reason right now, the beta just does not have good menu music. I don't know, it's just not very memorable, it doesn't stand out to me. And then like I said, in the game itself, a lot of it reuses music for Modern Warfare 2019, which I think is weird. I don't like when CODs reuse music like that. It's okay in some aspects, but for a lot of the multiplayer, they reuse the music, and it feels weird. I don't know, it's a nitpick to a lot of people probably, but music's really important to me. I think it has a big effect on the game, so it matters, but that's just one little thing there. But anyways, that's gonna do it for the beta review. If I'm gonna give this beta like a score out of 10, which I do sometimes for some of my reviews for different things, I would probably give it like a solid 6 out of 10, which might sound bad to some people, but honestly, it's not terrible. I would probably give like the Vanguard beta something a little bit higher. Cold War's beta was definitely like at least an 8.5 out of 10. I loved Cold War's beta. And Modern Warfare 2019's beta would probably be kind of similar to this. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun with it. But at the same time, I don't know if it's going to stick for the full game because I don't know how many things are actually going to change. Because there's a lot that's slowing down the pacing of the game. But there's a lot I really like about the game. There's a lot of solid foundational work here. And I'm sure I'm going to have fun with it regardless. But I don't know. I will see you on my next one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Peace out.